Hello everybody and welcome back for another season of Team Daddy Recaps. I am your host, Shapiro the Hero, and this year I will be referring to myself as Daddy Dreidels. I figure now that I have a daughter, I can officially adopt the title of Daddy, which is something I hope you will all call me by the end of the season. But I also know that there's 11 other guys who are hoping the same thing, which means this should be another exciting year of Team Daddy Fantasy Football. Week 1 is officially in the books, and we have had some very interesting results. Several games came down to Monday Night Football, and one victory was snatched from the jaws of defeat by an excellent choice of captain. Let's take a look around the league, starting with our matchup of the week, George versus Josh. George made headlines this offseason by claiming that he was, quote, actually going to try this year, end quote. However, if he did add any extra effort, it was canceled out by the unreal performance of Justin Jefferson, who carried Josh to a 175.3 to 168.3 win. Jay Jettas led the way with 44.4 points, and Josh also got 30-plus point games from Justin Herbert and Stephon Diggs. To his credit, George did not field a bad lineup, as he got 32 points or better from Lamar Jackson, Jamar Chase, you're welcome again by the way, and Michael Pittman. The ironic part is that if George had played the Rams D instead of the Bengals D, and not taken his team favoritism into account, he would have won by exactly 1 point. Oh well, you live and you learn. George will look to get his first win next week against Cheese, while 1-0 Josh will face PJ in week 2. Speaking of the commish, I do want to take a minute to send thoughts and prayers to PJ and Ava as they are preparing for the birth of their first child. PJ, I know we all bust on each other during the season, but we want you to know that you guys have all of Team Daddy wishing you and Ava all the best for a safe and healthy delivery for both mom and baby. We love you guys. With that being said, the commish did prove that we should all be very worried about his team this season, as he whooped Cheese 204.45 to 160.1. PJ fielded the highest scoring team of the week, thanks in large part to Devontae Adams' 35.1 points. He also got 30.5 from A.J. Brown, and 20-plus point games from Kyler Murray, Joe Mixon, Leonard Fournette, and Captain Terry McLaurin. Cheese did have the highest scoring player this week in Patrick Mahomes, but even his 50.5 points were not enough to lead Cheese to victory. Cheese will look for his first win in week 2 against George, and PJ will look to continue his dominance against Josh. In one of the most surprising games of the week, Brett knocked off Swans 149.9 to 136.95. Despite Brett spending all of Sunday complaining that his bench performed better than his starters, the team that we all wrote off on draft night is now 1-0, thanks in large part to 30.2 points from Russell Wilson on Monday Night Football. Brett also got big games from Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Amon-Ra St. Brown, and even won $10 for having the highest scoring kicker of the week in Younghoe Koo. Swans got a combined 76 points from Josh Allen and DeAndre Swift, but it looks like the rest of his team forgot that this week actually counted, as no one else other than Gabe Davis even broke double digits. We also had our first goose egg of the year thanks to Cole Kmet. Swans will lick his wounds and try to regroup this week against Armenti, while Brett hopes to prove this was not a fluke as he takes on Zach in week 2. As for Zach and Armenti, it was a law enforcement face-off in week 1 that saw Armenti continue his dominance from last season, as he defeated Zach 131.15 to 125.75. As usual, Cooper Kupp led the way for Armenti's squad with 36.8 points. And even with Kirk Cousins sitting on the bench with his 25.5 points, Armenti got a full team effort as he secured the W. Zach was led by Cordero Patterson and Christian Kirk, who both scored over 20 points, but that missed field goal by Brandon McManus on Monday night may have cost Zach the victory. Armenti will look to remain unbeaten against Swans, while Zach looks to grab his first win against Brett. Now, for the more astute crowd, you may have realized I haven't yet talked about our defending champion. Unfortunately for Kyle Swans, there really isn't much to talk about for him this week. Kyle and I stole the show as the two lowest scoring teams in the league this week. Thankfully, my team scored more than his, as I knocked off the defending champ 102.85 to 85.7. My highlight was my captain, Christian McCaffrey, scoring me 23.5 points, but other than that, there really wasn't a whole lot of offense to speak of. I did have to sweat a little bit on Monday night, as Kyle had DK Metcalf playing, but thankfully for me, he didn't do as much as I thought he might. Kyle's leading scorer was A.J. Dillon, who led all players in our matchup with 20.1 points. The champ will look to get back on track next week against Jed, while I hope to go 2-0 for the first time in a long time when I take on Big John and his new running back Derrick Henry in week 2. Our final matchup of the week saw a rematch of last year's Toilet Bowl as Big John and Jed squared off. And by the skin of his teeth, by the smallest of margins, Jed was able to avenge his loss in the Grand Shit Fiesta as he squeaked past John 180.9 to 180.1. Jed actually scored the second most points in the league this week as he got big scores from Jalen Hurts, Nick Chubb, and Jerry Jeudy. But it was Captain Travis Kelce who led the way for Bang Bang Skeet Skeet with 46.65 points. Most importantly, it was the extra 15.5 points Kelce scored as captain that gave Jed the victory. Big John got a monster performance from Saquon Barkley, as well as 20-plus points from Joe Burrow, Jalen Waddle, and Antonio Gibson, but it was not enough to defeat last year's biggest loser. John will look to regroup against me in Week 2, while Jed looks to go 2-0 against Kyle Swans. With Week 1 in the books, we saw a lot of players with surprise performances, both good and bad. Several key injuries have also rocked us this week, and the waiver wire has been jumping. The Week 2 matchup of the week will be Josh versus PJ, as both members look to remain unbeaten to start this young season. Thank you as always for watching. This has been your Team Daddy Weekly Recap. I am Daddy Dreidels, and I will see you next time. L'chaim, motherfuckers!